Hello and welcome back to round 4 of the Brew Bowl. The end of round 4 of the Brew Bowl for our weekly summary. So let me jump over to the summary page now. Alright, so we've had a change in the leadership here. So the Lauren Forest Drakes and Scumsy Blight, who were in equal first place before, have dropped down to second. And the Iron Hammers have jumped up 5 spots to take the lead on 9 competition points. We had a huge amount of ties this week. That meant that quite a few teams only got 1 competition point. Other big movers, the Executioners up 3, the Guardians up 2, along with the Outcasts and Jarls. And then some big losers there. The Coatls and the Enslavers both dropped 3 spaces, as did the Raiders. And then a couple of -1 spots there, mainly because of the Hammers moving up and pushing everybody else down from there. But overall, still close. They're still, with 4 rounds to go, nobody is out of contention for the top spot. There's still 12 competition points available for winning between now and the end. At the end of the day, you only need to get into the top half to make it into the playoffs anyway. So let's go look at the teams. So the Ascalon Gladiators, which is Fohammer, had a death. Smiapale died at the hands of the Butchers and picked up a catch on Physera. And also had enough money left over to pick up an extra lineman to replace the one that died. So overall doing quite well. Quite a high team value now too, and at the top end of the table. The Axolotl Coatls, which is Pondo's team, right block kick there showing his mixed next game. That's not from injury. That's actually from the sponsor effect. So when you have a sponsor, there is a 1 in 6 chance that one of your players offends the sponsor and has to miss a game doing community work to solve that. And so that's happened to right block kick for the next game. He also picked up defensive on a skink. Not a great skill, unfortunately, because no one in the league has any guard anyway. Pondo's been really unlucky with his skill rolls. But there's still the league is still young. Going on to the Fungus Bay Fanatics, they had a bit of a shocker. So first off, they lost 2 of their linemen this round. They lost Trark to being drafted, which was going to happen because I've been doing random secondaries on random plays. It just kept being him. He had 3 new skills, so there was a 50-50 chance he was going to leave anyway, which he did. And on top of that, Carr was killed. But they did pick up Pro, a new player, and had enough money left over to replace one of those 2 missing linemen. Then we go to the Glumhoff Guardians. Got multiple block on their Troll Slayer. Not really great, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And then also use some funds to up their assistant coaches and cheerleaders, therefore getting their team score a bit higher. The Executioners picked up catch on one of their linemen and had enough money left over to buy a lineman, now giving them a bench as well going forward. Looking at the Icehorn Peak Jarls, we got Pile Driver on one of their Ulfanar, and one of their Valkyries, Thora Vardottir, who is one of the highest scoring players in the league, was drafted, but there was enough money left there to replace her with a new Valkyrie, although not with her skills. The Ironhold Hammerers had their win over the Coatls to get them to the first place. Bo Jackson picked up Jump Up as a skill, not I think what Spin was looking for, but certainly still a better skill for a runner than some of the skills he's gotten in the past, like Cloudburster, for example, and I think Wrestle in the past. The Outcasts, no big changes here, really just got Leap on one of their linemen, and Dedicated Fans grew. The Knights, Mike finally got Dodge on one of his vampires. He's happy with that, and has some money left over to save to hopefully get another vampire to bring him up to the full four positionals in the future. The Drakes had to play another game with a journeyman, managed to get Jump Up onto one of the linemen and had enough money to buy themselves back up to 7 players. So no more journeyman for the Drakes going forward, but still no bench, which is pretty much the lot when it comes to Wood Elf teams. The Northcote Marauders picked up tackle on one of their blockers and also had enough money to buy a new blocker as well, so they're up to their full 4 positionals now, 3 blockers and a troll. And also got their first non-loss in the form of a draw against the Griffins. Butchers, still going down the path of using mutations, got Prehensile Tail onto one of their Marauders, and also, because they had a bit of extra money, used that to buy some cheerleaders, some Cornate cheerleaders. The Pantry Raiders have had one of their players go out due to serious injury, will be out next game. And also picked up Dauntless on one of their linemen. Not a bad skill for a halfling, really. Good chance for him to get any strength 3 player on a 2+, and then also with assist we'll get 2 dice then too. So good opportunity for the Slow Thicket Pantry Raiders now with a slightly stronger lineman and an apothecary now as well. Sun City Blight lost Fiesta Gronk, their extra arms goblin, to the draft. Did have plenty of money though to buy 2 new players, and also got claws on Wild Dog Hannah as well going forward, so much easier break on armor. The Talabeclan Griffins are really doing quite poorly this season for what they were in the past. They did quite well last season, but they just can't seem to get a win. Got another draw this week against the Marauders. Picked up Sidestep on their Blitzer. Thankfully, no one left. They've had a bit of a problem with team members leaving. The Warpstone Slavers, I need to get the name for the new player there, which I know Arthur's already done, but they lost Andrew the Large to death. The Gravemaker picked up Thick Skull, and I also believe that they have also picked up some, or at least one assistant coach, which is not shown here, but yeah, certainly this team is expanding and is still the most expensive team in the league. Okay, looking at the player leaderboard. So Dade jumped in front of Oswald Clipple for the most passes. Otherwise, that table has stayed roughly the same, although with some extra numbers there. Midi is still streaming ahead on 16 total touchdowns, having picked up 2 more this week. Thora Vardodia there, who is in equal third, is now drafted, so will not be getting any additional scores, so a chance for more players to come in and get onto that leaderboard. We have the first entry on the interception league, or an interception list. The Gravemaker didn't do a full interception. I've marked this with brackets because it was a deflection. Deflections are still worth SPP in 11s, and the tool play system still shows interception for a deflection. So I decided to put the Gravemaker here as the first person on this board. But 1 interception would trump 1 deflection. Most deadly, no real changes here. I think that Wild Hog had moved on to the bottom of the list there. Otherwise, it's just been a few more numbers on Rain Lewis and the Gravemaker. And then for most valuable and most expensive, there's no real significant changes there. The Gravemaker came on to the most expensive list thanks to his upgrade. All right, let's look at where round 5 goes. So first off, we've got the Hammerers versus the Butchers. Using the tool play stat, the Hammerers on 11.9, the Butchers on 12.8. I find anything within about 1 point is close anyway, so that's quite a close match. Not as close as the Outcasts versus the Blight. The Outcasts on 10.3, Blight on 10.2, so only 0.1 difference in there between those 2 teams. The Jarls against the Drakes. The Jarls are sitting on 9.9 versus the Drakes 7.4. I think that the Drakes' resilience really hurts them. They tend to lose a lot of players, and that does not help their score, but we'll have to wait and see how they do against the Jarls. The Gladiators on 8.4 versus the Executioners on 8.6. I still favour the Gladiators in that game. I think that Foe has got a really good thing going with that team. I don't know that this will be a high blocking game. I think this will be a lot of each team running around trying to score, but I think that Foe's positioning will really help him to win that match as well. So I'm calling that one for the Gladiators now. Right, on to the next group, the Quaddles versus the Enslavers. They are both equal on 8.6, so this will be Pondo versus AP. I think this will be a great match to watch. I think that both players will probably get pretty stressed in the process, but I think it'll be a lot of fun, and especially given that tour play shows them so even. Although that being said, the Enslavers had such a high TV, it's going to concede a lot of inducement to the men. Griffins 7.6 playing the Guardian 7.4. Bit of a mirror match here. You know, they've both got an ogre. They've both got a thrower. One's got 2 blitzers. One's got a blitzer and a troll slayer, and they've got linemen. So I think that these teams are very similar teams. I guess we'll have to wait and see how they go when they face each other. Then we've got the Knights versus the Raiders. The Knights here on 7.1, the Raiders on 7.9. Despite the higher value for the Raiders, I still think that Mike's team is starting to build out now, so I think he'll have a much easier time against the Halflings, and I think that the Hypnotize skill could potentially pay some dividends against Treeman to give him a chance to move around what is otherwise a bit of a roadblock on the field. And then finally, the Fanatics versus the Marauders. Fanatics on 8.1, Marauders on 6.9. I think that Omar is getting much better with the Marauders. I think that the Fanatics still have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, though, so it's hard to say that because you're getting better at Blood Bowl, you're going to get better against Goblins, because Goblins really don't play like any other team with all the secret weapons. It could just come down to how good they are at keeping them on the table, keeping them on the field, because that has happened in the past. They've managed to keep their secret weapons throughout most of the game. Otherwise, if there are quite a few quick turnovers because of a score or something else, they could quit with some of their players and have to be playing men down against the Marauders. So I don't know how to call that one yet, but I still do think it favours the Goblins somewhat. So there you go. That is the roundup for round 4 and looking ahead to round 5. So I hope you're still enjoying the Brew Bowl. Please do join us over the next couple of weeks as we go into round 5. And of course, we have announced now in round 6, it will be Giant round 2. So another novelty round for you guys to sink your teeth into. Anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.